Hi, time for another episode of the Thought Project, just so you know, and this is episode 2 of August 2023. We're starting out with Paula Abdul's Straight Up. The original song started out with her tap dancing. Really glad she's gotten back to doing her thing on Instagram. Okay, so that's enough of that song. I don't want to spend too long on it today. As you can see, I was kind of trying to adjust the volume a little bit at the beginning, but I didn't really put together a choreograph session for y'all today, and I'm trying to keep the shows a little bit shorter. And I want to thank all of you who've been subscribing. There's been a whole bunch of new subscribers on the show. For this edition, we're going to skip Al Capone and do that in the next episode. So hang on, because that episode is coming, and I may spend more time actually focusing on him a little bit. I need to put some time in on the research and not just go through the anecdotes and stories that I knew from my years in DC, and then also the way people felt about him back in Iowa. So that episode is coming. Just hang tight. As far as today, we're going to talk about, I did look into why the U.S. got downgraded by Fitch. What they said is it was related to a lack of governance. Related to a lack of governance by the U.S. government. That is the issue I keep going into. All these years I spent talking to people about the possible attack on the Capitol. The fact that there were all these employees who thought it would be fun to go ahead and attack it. The fact that there were actual government employees who were okay with that and didn't want to stop it. And I can tell you today, I've heard all the arguments for going ahead with it. I couldn't think of one good reason to go ahead with it. It was literally just people that were trying desperately to allow the Russian government to take over the U.S. government. And there's no way around it. Because there were too many people who were Russian assets involved that wanted it to happen. That's just what it was. And I have no idea if the U.S. government has even gone ahead and fired those people. But as you can see, chaos broke out in the Virginia and Maryland area over the past year with the border war. And, as far as the southern U.S. goes, these conflicts have really become out of control, even with the Pentagon pulling back troops now and, pulling back on actual fighting at the border. But it's the same issue. It's, the conflicts are there, the information is being given, and there's too many people in the D.C. area that are frankly against the U.S. government and our assets working for foreign countries, or worse, just stupid people that want things for free. Because I dealt with a lot of people that were dumb who just wanted free stuff for performers and didn't care about beating me up or, stealing from me, and didn't care about actually paying for anything. And they can make up the dumbest excuses, the most backward logic in the world to try to justify stealing from somebody else. So it's just really important to know that that's actually going on. And DHS, for example, Fredward actually hacked and undermined their whole system, so it was hard for anybody to get anything reported. So abuse of animals, old people, fraud, all of that DHS was struggling to get established. They really didn't get going until probably the later part of the 2010s because of all the interruptions and hackings. And there was a woman at Georgetown who was one of my professors who was so crazy that she thought it was okay to that she thought Fredward was just great with attacking the U.S. signet system, and she was all about having the Capitol attacked, and just, instead of taking somebody like Nancy Pelosi to a task, for example, or holding them accountable in court, because this was one argument that was made, is they'd rather have the Capitol attacked and then somehow attack Nancy Pelosi. Of course, she's been removed from office now, but that almost falls into the territory of saying the U.S. Capitol had been taken over. What? It just doesn't make sense, it's too much of a bizarre argument for something that nobody really needed or wanted. And I had a neighbor who actually was part of the attack on the Capitol, and I can tell you she was a Russian woman and really nasty and dangerous. Little blonde, blue-eyed thing, old, or appeared old, and she attacked me. I ended up taking her to court and getting a protective order against her because she was crazy, dangerous, and I can do that. That's how it goes, right? So anyways, I need to note COVID hospitalizations are up. So even though we're all kind of trying to move on, COVID is still a major issue despite the fact that there's no pandemic or shutdown anymore. So just know that you can still get COVID. It's still out there. People are still being hospitalized over it, and there's been an upsurge over the summer. That's because COVID responds to heat. Cold kills it, heat moves it up. There were definitely problems with really exotic strains in Virginia when I lived there. I've had like 5 different types of it. Trying to work in home health, it just really burned me out in the field. And trying to be a nurse's aide was just too hard because of it. So, notably, as China is pulling away from us and we are no longer working with them as often, it's important to note that the U.S. is actually going to Mongolia now for minerals and resources. The Chinese have, I mean, a lot of it's around some components are for computers, but we don't really have to depend on them. We have a lot of minerals ourselves. I've even noticed here in the U.S., like back in the 80s and 90s, we used to do a lot of our own mineral, mining and supplies here. We really didn't need anyone else. And that's starting to research here. But we're also looking more relationships with Mongolia specifically because they have some rare minerals that are needed. And we need to talk about this. Russia struck the Greek consulate in Kherson. There were 55 strikes, 2,611 shells, and 72 of which landed in Kherson. Russia doesn't really seem to be backing down the attacks, but what I'm noticing is every time I attack Ukraine, seems to do really well attacking back. And they've had a number of drone strikes actually have come pretty close to the Kremlin, or maybe even started to hit the Kremlin at this point. But they're getting there, And let's talk about this for a second before we get into like fun stuff. Well, actually, let's just go straight into the fun stuff. So Laramie is finally suing the Church of Scientology. She's an actress. She used to be on Who's the Boss, and she was part of the Church of Scientology. I mean, she's noting that she's been psychologically abused by them from the years of 1979 through 2013. It's a weird situation because a lot of her career came from them, but then there's massive psychological abuse involved, and it's hard to know if she even really got paid by them. So, whether she has money or not, or if she's just poor is hard to know. And it's kind of sad, but she is finally mounting a lawsuit now after all these years. So, also, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry were left out of the Queen's commemoration ceremony. That was a choice made by King Charles. That woman just really, I don't know. There's more stories now where Prince Harry is being ripped on by Travelist, and so even though, like, one of the founders and leaders said he's cool, there's all the staff coming out saying they don't know what he does, and that he's an idiot of some kind, and just really insulting him, and I have no idea where the rest of it's going to go. But it's clearly an ongoing drama that the rest of us can kind of laugh at because these people don't really, does this really affect your life? No. And it's just bizarre narcissism kind of playing itself out in the public eye. So, I want to go into an influencer story out of Century City in LA. Apparently, a bunch of people who were supposed to be influencers, this is so offensive, were buying Payless shoes and paying full price for them because they were displayed in what was supposed to be a designer store. So I do influencing. I'm telling you that right now. Because I do not pay for things. People actually send me gifts and I try them out. I'll give you an example. Slender Sticks. Drink mix. I was given these to try out. I have to give an opinion on them. It didn't cost me anything. I don't even pay shipping on them, okay? That's influencing. When you're out buying this stuff, that's not influencing. That's somebody who maybe gave you a deal. In this case, apparently got ripped off because you paid way too much for shoes that just came from Payless. And apparently all these people who were supposed to be influencers didn't know. That's so rude to compare them and call them influencers. I can't take it. I have to go put this away. So rude. Do I get the most fabulous things to try? No, I don't. I get good stuff, I did a whole thing with Force Factor over the summer. Got a whole bunch of supplements to try. It was great. But, am I like getting free Prada bags? Am I getting like Balenciaga bags for free? No. But I get a lot of very reasonable items to try for free. And I prefer to try things that are healthcare and wellness related that are like more fun anyway. So I'm really into health care issues and development of the self and holistic, the whole mind body self connection is more valuable to me than other stuff. So I think some of these people are trying to be influencers are just nuts. That's what I think. So anyways, here's the big story that came out over the weekend. And we do actually have to talk about this before we get into stuff that's even less so. Let's talk about a concept really quickly. And this is going to kind of go together But you need to consider that when it comes to Russian mafia, where they can go and work depends a lot on infrastructure in the U.S. Like they had a lot of influence in the D.C. area, power, water, trash, sewage. That's all the stuff they like to mess up, right? To try to exercise control. And then when you look back, there are some films that really got at the issue, like Chinatown, which was out a long time ago. But, it was about a man who gets away with overt murder, sexual abuse, physical abuse, labor trafficking in LA and Ventura County. And, the way the movie puts it together, they're saying that he gets away with it because he has the solutions to the water supply issues. Or does he? Or is he actually the cause of the water supply issues, which then allows him to abuse the kids and overtly murder the mother of one of the children in the film that she tries to get out of the situation? The answer is he is the cause of the water problem. He causes it so he can have access to the children to abuse and commit labor trafficking. And it's still a problem today. It's just never gone away. Now, I want to note this because we're going to talk about Sound of Freedom. The producer of Sound of Freedom was arrested on sex trafficking and grooming children charges related to kidnapping. He is of 6678 P&A Investors, and he was arrested by the St. Louis police, and he was actually arrested July 27th, 2023. And he has not been convicted as of, I put down August 3rd, 2023. So I don't have any more information right now. But I know that he was actually listed as a funder, and he's even noted in the film. And his name was Fabian. Well, it says Fabian Martin Family, listed as funders about 129 minutes into the film. Let's see. I want to make sure this name is correct just for you all. It might go a little long because of this, but I want to get it right. Nope, it's Fabian Marta. So Fabian Marta and Family listed as funders about 129 minutes and 30 seconds into the movie. Now, here's the thing. I know some of you are going to get mad about this and say Sound of Freedom is supposed to be about the lives of children. Mira Sorvino already came out and made a statement about it. She already, said his behavior was wrong and distanced herself from him. This is where Hollywood always struggles because they try to make films that are decent, and then the funders or somebody else involved, and there's some weird twist in the film that isn't quite right, or project, and it ends up being a film that somehow bizarrely supports it in trafficking or the abuse. It's just undermines the whole process. And I know all that because I was still going through some trafficking issues with being used for work and projects not getting paid when the film was in development. And so I knew that there were going to have problems with some of the funders actually turning out to be pedophiles and groomers and weirdos themselves and traffickers. And it's important to note because who told you there was a problem with the plotline of the movie? Me. One of the major problems is that they're talking about going abroad to pick up kids and save them from being trafficked. Well, what's one of the biggest issues that DHS has had? It's actually dudes going abroad, like South America, Central America, Africa, Philippines, for sex trafficking. So they can have sex vacations with kids. And they cover it up by saying they're on mission trips and oftentimes say they're going to a church or some other religious group. Just gross. And so that's the big red flag on the movie. And that's why I told people not to even bother with it, because I knew this was going to come out. It was going to happen. And it's just really sad. But I note all the issues with the Russian mafia because they're really big on setting this stuff up. I mean, their trafficking circles go around the world, basically. So, don't forget, the next episode is going to be Al Capone. We're going to talk about a couple of weird things here from the entertainment industry or whatever. It's not really the entertainment industry. It's just Hollywood weird stuff, because we have a whole other industry around, like the Kennedy Center with performing arts and, opera in the U.S. and ballet and things that are actually not disgusting and weird. So, Dua Lipa was sued over the song Levitating, and the suit failed. She's gone through a couple. But now, one of the producers related to the song is actually suing her. And the reason he's suing her is because he's finally come up with a really, airtight, watertight description, technically, of how she stole from him. So congratulations on that. I'm going to look up his name really quickly for you. Because it's kind of important that somebody actually finally got her. She's just another one that needs to go away, right? Like, just go away. Go away. Ew. Weird. Let's see. I knew somebody was going to get her eventually. So basically, she wasn't granted any permission to use his work. And his Bosco Conte. So that's Bosko. And the last name is Conte. Kante. Frankly, somebody should call me. You really want to get her? Call me up. Like, we'll do a collaboration, Stuart. Because I know all about this stuff. And I've been waiting a long time to see that woman for the amount of work she took from me. Or her people took from me. So, you know, I'm here. I'm here. Just give me a call. Just give me a call, people. I'm here for you. Guys, I'm going to finish the show with this item because it's completely disgusting, and I want you to understand that that's the whole point about why everyone's gotten so fed up. So Cardi B, who just got in trouble and was actually charged for hitting an audience member with a microphone, which is really horrible and mean. And it may not even been the exact same person who threw water on her after she asked someone to throw water on her at a very hot concert event. Has now been caught by Page Six as well as a bunch of Indian outlets. And some other U.S. outlets. I'm going to look this up again to see how many got her. But Page Six is the one who has the really disgusting picture. I mean, they put actual footage up of her dancing around with her tampon hanging out. So tampon string hanging out. Yeah. Outlook India, Hot New Hip Hop, Page Six. TikTok has a segment on it. Perez Hilton. WION Entertainment. First Curiosity, All Hip Hop Media Takeout. Penshoa, littlethings.com, USA Today News. USA Today caught it. Or no, that's US Today. Sorry, not USA Today. I was like, that's really kind of weird that USA Today would even go there. But so US Today News. Parla Magazine. There's stuff on Instagram, Flipboard. IMDb. Twitter. Gossip Bucket. ES Euro. Head Topics, Sci-Feed. We got a whole show on YouTube about how she's got a tampon string hanging out and Lizzo's being sued. iFunny. I don't know if that's really funny. It's just gross. Goa Spotlight, The Recent Times. Bossip was trying to cover for her and said she was just twerking too much. No. Looks like the New York Post is saying she's actually going to be cleared of criminal battery, at least the Mike throwing incident. So, anyways, that's somebody that, you know, that's a perfect example. She's got a lot of material for free, hasn't paid people. She goes on stage, she's a diva, she throws temper tantrums, she hits people with her mic, and then there's this whole weird issue with her literally performing in the most narcissistic fashion possible with her tampon string hanging out. I think I'm just done. You know, why would anyone want to spend money on this stuff? I mean, I like rap just as much as anybody, but I don't want to pay to go to a show so some weirdo can throw a microphone and hit people and then dance around with her tampon hanging out. Like, what's next? I mean, you know, is J-Lo going to go out and do a show and just, like, defecate in front of everyone? Is she going to do, like, a weird booty dance and defecate? Like, because that's kind of where they're at. I mean, these people just, they have no sense. There's no taste. There's no artistry. You know, Cardi B's another one that tries to claim to be part of the Latin community, and she's clearly just another weirdo with the Russian mafia. Probably find out she's Albanian or something in one of those groups that just you don't want to have anything to do with because they're just really tasteless and they drive the U.S. government crazy, actually. So anyways, I'm going to finish with a song from Showboat today. And I hope you really enjoy it, but that's going to be the show. We're almost at the 20-minute mark, and I need to finish up. We're going to roll it up, lock it up, finish it up, end this show. So here we go. Oh, listen, sister, I love my Mr. Man, and I can't tell you why. There ain't no reason why I should love that man. It must be something that the angels done planned. Fish got to swim and birds got to fly. I got to love one man till I die. Can't help loving that man of mine. Tell me he's lazy, tell me he's slow, tell me I'm crazy, maybe I know. Can't help loving that man of mine. 'Cause when he goes away, that's a rainy day. And when he comes back, that day is fine. The sun will shine. He can come home as late as can be. Home loving that man of mine. Can't help loving that man of mine. And that was a thought project, just so you know. Have a good one.